This is Ron Brown again. It's still July 15th, 2022. Standard risk disclaimer. I'm not going to read it. You know it by now. Everything, all trades are at your own risk. And let's just go back into the program. I'm just going to take or move out of ETFs and start looking at some stocks. Before I do that, though, let me just jump up here to the major market ETFs. Sort on raw combo. You can see the small cap portfolio is doing well. Both of these. ARKK is doing well, up 1.62. What I want to look at, though, the diamonds are up 1.74 at 70.8% of their daily range. The IBB, this biotech index, is doing well. What I'm looking for, let me sort by symbol. QQQ, that's what I want right here. And you can come over here and look at this, and you can see that it really hasn't moved much. It doesn't have that doji star anymore. It's got a spinning top, though. Volume is still running above normal, but it really isn't making much headway. It's down, let's see, the percent range is now 67.23, so it's given back, or it's off the high. Volume is still heavy. All right, let's move on. Now, if we just go into all securities, click on that, and then go into the views that I'm giving out as beginning views, and just go to the stocks assigned to industry groups intraday, sort on the raw combo. You can see that there are some big movers up here, and they're biotech stocks. I'll just take a quick look at these. I don't want to spend much time on this, but you'll see a lot of these cheap stocks in the database that traders like to trade. You can see this one was run up to 210, 215, and then pulled back, but there's always opportunities in these if you like high risk trades, because they move. Now I noticed that I did not engage my filter, so if I double click on that, that cuts it down to around 4,000 securities. It was including the ETFs. I went in and checked the filter, but this is the way I want it. Now, one thing I like to do before I start looking at stocks is, I'll close this warehouse view. I like to go to the industries and sectors and select under the tools menu, rebuild indexes in a group. And what this is doing, it's updating the industry groups with current stock information. Just takes a few seconds to do this. Okay, after the industries are rebuilt, I'll go back up to all securities, click through to the warehouse view, and you see this icon here, the filter icon. Just double click on that to make sure that you have the right filter attached to the view. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to go over here and sort on the industry percentage price change. I did that, and you can see that the large banks are up today, and I assumed that was the case earlier when I saw the financials up. And Bank of New York, Mellon is up 5.9%. Another thing I like to do after sorting on the industries is do a secondary sort. Just type raw in here, and that sorts these banks according, or sorts all the stocks, I should say, according to this combo, the percent range and the percent price change intraday, and just stacks them in order based upon the combo. Let's go down. You can see the cruise lines are up today, bottom fishing again, but the group is up 4.65%. Then managed care and so on. So you can just look down this list and see where the strength is very quickly. You can see there's a lot of groups that are up today and are doing well. So how do you decide what you want to trade? Well, you can do a couple of things. I'll just give you some ideas here. I have these scans. Let's say that I am looking for a bullish crossover today, intraday. Just by clicking on that and leaving the groups in position, you can see there's one diversified bank that crossed over yesterday on the VPOC. And here it is. Let me get this out of the way. Here it is right here. If I go to my standard view, you can see that the crossover was yesterday. This is a continuation today. So bulls were coming into this yesterday on this reversal, and now it's following up. Let's look at a casino and gaming stock here. Wynn Resort. The VPOC, which is an early indicator, it crossed over yesterday and it's moving up. But looking at the context, I always try to look at the context. This has a ton of overhead resistance. Just look to the left. The 3 has not yet crossed the 6, but there is support through here. You can see where there have been this is accumulation days, stopping volume, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 accumulation days, and it's starting to move up. If I click up here, I can see the earnings due date is August 3rd. This has been losing money, obviously, and this is why it's in a downtrend. So if you put a crosshair on here, you can see there's support in this general area, and there have been several accumulation days. So, but just remember, it's a counter trend move right now because this trend is still down. You always have to put this into context. Now let's look elsewhere here. Well, I'm going to go to a different one. That's a VPOC crossover. Here's a 3 and 6 day crossover yesterday, or a 2-day window, I should say. This column right here tells you the days since. So this was 2 days ago on the crossover on Excel Entertainment. And this was yesterday on this one. And you can see the crossover right here. But once again, what's the context? Down. This is a casino, another casino. Let's look at the marine shipping. This happened yesterday on the crossover. VPOC crossed over 3 days ago. Let's see what it looks like. By the way, this up here is the group line. I haven't mentioned this yet, but you can see what the group rank is. It's a pretty good rank, and it was going down, and now it's starting to build a little bit. What do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 accumulation days on this, and VPA flag. Strength seen returning after a downtrend. This confirms the return of strength. Low volume test. Another confirmation today. Now this isn't quite as bad as far as downtrends. In fact, it's a lot better because there's no uptrend, but there's no downtrend either because all of these are grouped together. Look at this move up here that failed, but it is under accumulation. You can see the crossover right there. Okay, another one. This is crossover indicators with pocket pivots. Number 5, I'll just take the first one. Here's the crossover. Here's your pocket pivot. What's the context? Downtrend, countertrend. Continuation. Let me do this intraday. Continuation requires all of everything is positive. The 3 has to be above the 6, and the VPOC has to be positive, and we have to have a pocket pivot or an effort to rise candle, one or the other. Look at this. This has just been basing in here, and it's breaking out today. Let's look at one more here. Okay, here's your pocket pivot. All of the indicators are positive. I can tell that by looking up here in these two columns. If they're in this column and this column, they're positive. Let's look for at this one right here. This tells me just by looking that the 3 has been above the 6 for 29 days, but the VPOC, there must have been a pullback, and then it fired again yesterday. And that's exactly what happened. Okay, here's the pullback on the VPOC. But all of these other indicators are positive. You can tell that by looking at the histogram here. And see, there's no pocket pivot here, but there's an effort to rise. So it's an either-or situation. But I call this my continuation filter because it looks for stocks that are continuing higher. Okay, let's look at this one. Fan uptrend, counter trend to the downside, but they're up today. So the fan is stacked. That's not a good example of a fan. Let's see if probably find a. Here's one right here. Transmetic group. Okay, here was the counter trend. The 3 went below the 6, and then it's crossing over today. You can see that down here. So here's your counter trend. Fan is up, counter trend, low risk entry. Let's look at Perfect Speculator. These are stocks that recently hit a 52-week or a 3.25-year high. And this is, let's do the intraday version of this. No information on this. Thinkorswim doesn't support it. So this hit a 52-week high 3 days ago. You can see the crossover happened 15 days ago, and the VPOC crossed over 17 days ago. This is a very strong stock, as you can see. So under Perfect Speculator, there's a book called Perfect Speculator. It's about buying stocks that are hitting new highs, and a stock obviously has to hit a new high before it can make much progress or go any higher. So the name of the book is Perfect Speculator. It's available out there. Okay, 52-week high. Intraday, there's a couple here that are not supported by Thinkorswim. You can see if these are following through. Most active up intraday. 121 of them pass the filter. I'm still sorted on industry percentage price change. If I go to raw combo, it'll give me a better look at the strength here. Citigroup is up 11.48. The range is 97.66. If I bring this up, look at this. Down. Trend is still down. Right now it's a counter trend rally, but it's a nice move today. And let's look at high relative volume intraday. Citigroup, DraftKings. DraftKings is another stock that's in a severe downtrend, but they're buying it today. I don't know why, but I guess revenue is increasing, but the earnings certainly aren't. Earnings, see this right here, August 5th. But clearly in a downtrend. It's hard to make money on stocks like this, even though everybody or several traders are rushing in today. Let's keep going. These are market leaders, stocks that have not pulled back that much from the high, and there's only 59 of them. And you can see that this is a leading stock. Look at the fan, and this is breaking out to a new high. So you can find leaders in here that are moving up. Okay, so that was a quick run through. I overlooked this impulse reaction. These are stocks that have recently hit a high. They're usually very strong stocks, and they pulled back for a day or so, and like right here, and they're going again. Let's look at one more. Now I do want to point something out that I haven't mentioned yet. These columns over here, this is a relative strength column. This is a Kirkpatrick relative strength. A calculation in HGSI requires a 26 week moving average. And these two columns, the performance compared to the S&P. 100 is the base, or 1 is the base, I'm sorry. So this stock has outperformed the S&P by 1% over 5 days and by 5% over 10 days. So it just gives us a feel for how strong these stocks are relative to the market. And if I leave this up and drop down to this chart compared to the SPX, this blue line represents a comparison to the SPX. Here's the SPX, here is the stock chart, here is the group line. So you can see the group has been weak, but this stock has been strong. Also, if you look at this box right here, it shows the performance over 1 day, beginning of the week, 10 day, 15 day, 21 day, and 3 months. It's underperformed the S&P over 3 months, but all the other periods has outperformed. That's going to be it for this video. I will come back and do a video on user smart groups. These videos are just to get you started, just to show you the power of HGSI and how easy it really is to prospect, especially when you run it in conjunction with Thinkorswim driving the quotes intraday.